We hear a lot about economic development, but what specific tools do you feel that the town of Fishers should use to attract and keep businesses?
Thank you. That's a great question. Certainly that's not the first time that's been posed to me, and I welcome the opportunity to answer that. Obviously, tax incremental funding, TIFs, those have been used to attract business to Fishers as well. But I also believe in tax abatements, and that could be an unpopular thing to choose. When using those two key pieces to attract business, you must use them in a discretionary way. You can't just throw them out there without looking at the impacts of what those tax abatements and TIF opportunities would mean to schools, would mean to residents here in Fishers. But I will not be fearful of using those, but again, using them wisely, conservatively, and as an as-needed basis. But we have got to grow the commercial business here in Fishers. Time is of the essence. I can think of a city of 6,000 people in central Indiana who has seen tremendous growth in the commercial development in the last 2 years. So while we may be hearing that there's been a downturn in the economy, I find it very peculiar that a city of 6,000 people has managed to bring some economic development to their city, and they are thriving. We need to do this now. Time is of the essence again with the tax caps. We have got to be proactive. We have got to have an approved plan. We may have plans out here, but we must have a master plan that is approved and not just out there piece by piece. Here's what we're doing with the airport, here's what we're doing with 96th Street. So I think coming together and executing an approved plan and everyone on the same page will serve all of us residents well, so we can continue the quality of life we currently enjoy now. Thank you.
Well, as my current counselors know, I am probably, I couldn't disagree more with Renee as far as the tax abatement situation. I have voted for a few tax abatements throughout my tenure on the council, but in general I'm very reticent to use tax abatements. In my opinion, essentially what tax abatements are doing is taking money from current Fishers business owners and subsidizing potentially their competition and bringing them into the town. We absolutely welcome new development that wants to come here and be a part of the community, but I am very reticent to use tax abatements because I am extremely protective of our current businesses and would like to see them grow and expand. As Renee was talking, over the past 2 years, I was trying to do some quick math in my head from this chart. We've had over 650,000 square feet of new commercial development projects and over 1,500 new jobs created. And when we talk about an economic development master plan, I guess I would like to hear a little bit more in detail about what that entails, because we certainly have zoning plans, we have transportation plans, but as a Republican, obviously I am very supportive of the free market, and so I would be curious to know much more about what that would entail.
I appreciate the comments on the economic development plan, and Renee, I think is right. You have to use all the tools in your bag, but one of the things that I think needs to be very important and recognized here is that when you're out there and you're trying to develop an economic development plan, okay, you cannot sit back and wait for the phone to ring. That is not an economic development plan. Having a shovel-ready site, ready to go, in a city like Fishers, with the schools that we have, the community that we have, the intelligent people we have, with the low tax base, I need boots on the ground. I operate a company with my partner out of Chicago. We do business financing for folks. I run the originations department. If I had one of my people come up and tell me they would wait for the phone to ring, I would fire them. Okay? Waiting for the phone to ring is not an economic development plan. You need to get out there, you need to define a vision, you need boots on the ground to go bring businesses over here who haven't even heard of the word Fishers, haven't even known the state of Indiana, people who haven't thought about coming here. We need to go out there, we need to promote our city and our town as effectively as we can.
Can you just want to pass on to Jason?
So I think the question was, what tools and ways the town can use to attract business? Well, I think we've done a pretty good job. Money magazine last year rated us the 8th best place to live in the nation. And I will quote them. When it comes to smart planning and sheer livability, other places could learn a lot from this little city in the Midwest. So that's a nationally publicized publication that states the rest of America can learn from Fishers. That's a pretty bold statement. So last year, there was growth. $276 million of capital investment was made through TIFs. So it was a 5-year commitment, created 835 new jobs. It retained 140, which resulted in $128 million in additional payroll. Even without offering TIFs, we still grew 13 projects, which resulted in $71 million of assessed value, and which created and retained 500 new jobs. And I'll just end on this. We've got to be very careful because these TIFs will create the tax burden away from our corporate citizens back onto the residential citizens. And then the schools will be impacted, and everything we're trying to enhance will be impacted because of flagrant use of TIFs and tax abatements. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. This might be past there you go. Mike Chamberlain.
So I said earlier.
Sorry, Mike.
You muted me. We'll start now. I said earlier, we're solid, we've got cash, we've got money, okay? The reality is last year we had 20 commercial structural permits, it comes right from Eileen's book, 19 the year before, and the last time it was that low was 1993. Yes, it's a difficult economic environment. But we have got to get out there and bring those folks to us. Every deal is a different deal. Some take TIF, some take tax abatement. If the deal makes sense, you take it because you need the money. And I told you earlier, our income is flat from 2009 to 2010. We need money for schools, fire departments, safety. You take the deals as they come, if they make sense, and you use all the tools.